Hello, my name is Amber and I am a certified yoga instructor at the University of Cincinnati. And today I'll be guiding you through a relaxation yoga practice with a focus on gratitude. So get ready to relax, get comfy, and we're going to come over onto our yoga mats. For today's practice, you'll just need a yoga mat, and then I would suggest having a blanket of some sort. It can be a blanket like mine, but it doesn't have to be. Any blanket you have should be fine. Perhaps folded up kind of like this would be nice, especially if you're looking to use it to sit on. Pillows can work as well. And then also just a block. If you don't have a block, you can use like your big textbook or something similar. And if you really don't have anything like that, don't worry about it. You can still play around with this without those options as well. So that being said, we'll go ahead and get in today's practice. Of course, water is always nice to have on hand too. And we'll start by finding a comfortable seat, whatever that is for you today. So I like to sit on my blanket. I find that the elevation that it allows for my hips helps me to have less pinching and tension in my back, so I can get more comfortable in my seat. So just find whatever feels like a comfortable seat to you. Most of us will be cross-legged, unless that bothers you in any way. You can also even do this sitting against the wall, which that's another thing you want to have for today's practice, by the way, as well, is access to a wall. I feel like most people have that. We're going to use our wall as a prop today as well. So, yeah, just a wall and your mat, and then preferably some kind of blanket or pillow, and then a block if you have one. And again, if you don't have it, don't worry about it. So, find your comfortable seat, whatever that looks like for you. Just sitting up tall with your upright spine, find a good posture, and then let everything release, let everything soften a little bit from there. And your eyes can be opened, or you may like to close them for a few moments here. So we start our practice setting a positive tone. So we take this time intentionally to slow down and be present with ourselves on our mats and offer a space of gratitude. Because gratitude, not only is it just a kind thing to give thanks and appreciate those things around us that bring us joy, that bring us value, but also our practice of gratitude can help us to feel more happy and more content. So, just sitting with your eyes open or closed, we'll start by just taking a deep breath in through your nose. And exhale to let a big sigh out through your mouth. Just kind of let it loose, let it release, let it go. And from here, we'll move into our steady rhythmic breath, your 4-count breath. Gently breathe in and out through your nose. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in. And breathe out. And just try your best to stay with a steady rhythmic breath throughout today's practice. It might be that 4-count breath, but that's a starting point. You might prefer more of a 3-count or a 5-count breath, just whatever feels natural to you. Just having awareness of the breath and staying with an even breath as much as you can. And as you sit with this breath, I invite you to set a little intention for your practice. And the intention, of course, can be anything that feels soothing, calming, uplifting to you, anything that you would like to focus this time on your mat towards today. That being said, I invite you to consider what you're grateful for at this time. Maybe look around the room and just notice items. Maybe you're really grateful for your phone or the device that you're able to watch this on, or just for the outfit you're wearing today or the mat. Maybe you have a furry friend that you share space with, or family or roommates, or others that are in your life or in your home that add value with their presence. Maybe it is something spiritual. There are all kinds of things that it could be. Maybe it's just your physical ability to do this practice. And if you're someone who doesn't have the physical ability to do a more traditional yoga practice, just being present with your breath and trying to find gratitude for what you can do. or anything else that speaks to you today. So the dictionary definition of gratitude is the quality of being thankful, readiness to show appreciation for and to return kindness. So just something to think about. And as we say here with this breath and intention, we'll start with some little warm-up stretches and movements. If your eyes are closed, you can go ahead and open them. Inhale, reach your arms overhead and just stretch your fingertips up to the sky. Reach them up as high as you can. Exhale, send your right hand to your left knee as you turn to look out over your left shoulder. Coming into a simple seated twist. As you inhale, you really want to sit up tall to create length in your spine first. And then exhale to gently twist from there. And of course, any amount is fine. We'll take another breath here. Inhale, look forward, gently unwind from your twist, reach your arms overhead. And exhale, send it over to the other side, turn to look out over the opposite shoulder. And inhale, sits you up tall, find that length first. Exhale, twist from there. And if you find that when you do that inhale to sit yourself up tall and create length in your spine, if you find that takes you out of the twist a little bit, that's totally normal and fine. So I don't want you to worry about that. Just focus on finding that length first, still lengthening up through the crown of your head, and then twisting from there. I'll take another breath here. Inhale, look forward, gently unwind from your twist, and we'll roll your shoulders up by your ears and roll them down back a few times, nice and slow, nice and easy, just kind of letting that any pressure in your shoulder blades release, and then let your shoulder blades relax down your back. Inhale, tilt your chin towards the sky for a moment, stretching along the front of your neck, shoulders stay relaxed down away from your ears, still keeping that upright spine. Next breath in, come back through neutral. And then exhale your chin down to your chest to your chin this time. Feeling that stretch along the back of your neck. Breathe in. And as you breathe out, just begin to slide your chin over toward your left shoulder. And you can just pause right here. Kind of feel a stretch on the side of your neck. Or if it feels good to you, very carefully, you can tilt back a little more. But be careful and make sure that, that it feels okay in your neck if you do that. And then little half rolls here, from side to side, make your way back through center and then over to the other side. And we'll just do this a couple more times, just going at your own pace. There's no rush here. If you want to pause on an area and just take a breath on an area that feels extra tight, you can do that too. Just let it feel good. Eventually, you'll make your way back to center, and then from here, you just lift your chin back up to neutral. And then once you get there, we'll scoot off your blanket if you're sitting on one, and just slide your feet behind you and make your way onto your hands and knees for your tabletop. So fingers are spread wide, shoulders over your wrists, hips over your knees with a flat back. We'll move right into our cat and cow warm-up. So inhale, slide forward into your cow. And then exhale around into your cat and just continue to flow through these cat and cow movements here at your own pace, with your own breath, continuing to connect the breath with the movement. Your inhales correspond with your cow and your exhales with your cat. We'll do a couple more of these. Here, we will come back to your tabletop, or back to your hands and knees, fingers spread wide, shoulders over your wrists, begin to curl your toes under, and lift your hips up to the sky for downward facing dog. You might keep a little bend in your knees here, or you might straighten your legs, whatever feels best to you. And just try to relax your shoulders, draw your navel into your spine, and feel free to walk your dog a little bit, and maybe shake your head loose a little bit, whatever feels good here. You can even stretch your legs if you want. The choice is yours. We're not going to spend a lot of time in downward dog today. We're going to be doing mostly gentle floor work and relaxation, restorative, and yin yoga type poses. We'll take a couple more breaths here to just kind of do any of those movements that feel good to you. Let's take one more breath in. And exhale, lower your knees to the earth. And sink your seat back to your heels for child's pose. And do just a really gentle flow here. Inhale, shift forward to your knee plank. So you can keep your knees on the floor, but draw your chest a little bit forward over your shoulders. Draw your navel in tight, still forming that that straight line with your body. Crown of your head lengthens forward. Exhale, draw your elbows in toward your body. As your hips stay lifted and you lower your chin and chest to the floor for 8-point pose. Inhale, lower your hips, tops of your feet press into the floor, draw your shoulders back and lift your chest into low cobra. And then exhale, press it back to child's pose. Inhale, shift forward to your knee plank. Exhale, knees, chest, and chin. That one takes practice. Inhale to your cobra. Do a low or a high cobra here. Exhale back to your child's pose. Do a couple more of these. Inhale, shift forward, knee plank. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift, back bend. Exhale, child's. Inhale, plank. Exhale, down. Inhale, up. And exhale back to child's pose. This time we're going to hold the child's pose for a little bit longer, as we sometimes do in our relaxation practice. It's more of a yin restorative approach. We do less poses, but we hold them for a longer period of time. Now, sometimes I show props here. So, I've done ones before where I showed it with a bolster or blocks and things like that. So feel free to do that or use pillows or anything like that, like we've done in some of the other videos. But for today's practice, I'm going to just keep this one simple for those of you who maybe don't have those items available, so you don't feel left out of the practice. Knees can be close together or apart. Stretch your arms out in front. I find this can really stretch through the shoulders and upper back really well. You might like to use your hands as like your own prop here, forming a pillow with your hands, or maybe you take your hands to the side and curl up like a ball. Going off into your own world, whatever feels good to you. We're just going to stay here for a couple of minutes today in our Balasana, or child's pose, which inspires gratitude as you fold forward into yourself and rest near the earth. Can you breathe in, breathe out, being grateful for your breath, a sign that you are alive and anything is possible. Just relax into the space here. Take another minute or so in this pose. Just completely surrender towards the earth. Release, let everything go. Enjoy your child's pose. Give you a little quiet space here. Take a couple more gentle breaths here. And press down to the palms of your hands. Inhale, start to bring yourself back up to your tabletop. And just slide your feet over to one side. It doesn't matter which side it is. Feel free to just make little stretches or movements on the way that feel good to you to kind of release from the child's pose. And then from here, grab my trusty blanket again, optional for you to do so as well, or not. And we're just going to come to a cross-legged seat on your mat, kind of like where we started here. Sit up tall, and then bring your chest forward, and then over to one side, and then back. And these can be, I'm going to do little hip circles here. Make a circle. It can be a small or a large circle. And you can go as fast or slow as you would like. So just kind of let it flow naturally to whatever, just whatever naturally feels good to you in this moment. You might feel a little silly doing this, but the fun part about practicing on your own at home is that no one else has to see it. Except for me, who's doing this on the internet. But, you know, it's okay. Let's switch opposite directions. I try not to worry too much about that stuff. I just try to have fun with it. Your yoga practice is about you. It's not about anyone else. Other than you opening up to feeling more peaceful, more compassionate, and being able to maybe be a kinder person and more of service towards others around you because you did your yoga practice. But as far as what you do is come back to center on your mat. That is yours. Let's come back to your cross-legged seat, sitting upright. And just inhale, reach your arms overhead. And exhale, gently walk your hands out on the floor in front of you, coming into a little forward fold. Breathe in. Breathe out. And we'll walk your hands all over to the left. And just pause for a moment here. And just stretch along the side of your body. Take a breath in. Take a breath out. And walk it back through center. And then over to the right, same thing. Come back to center. We'll take about 5 more breaths here to pause in our forward fold, taking this time to look inward, to be present, maybe find some gratitude for yourself and the ability to be there for yourself and appreciate who you are and the gifts that you offer the world. Shoulders relaxed. Make sure your neck feels relaxed and supported. And your back isn't pinching or having any pain. Take one more breath here. Inhale, start to walk your hands in towards your body and make your way back up to a seat, back up to your neutral spine. Feel free to shake it out a little bit and then do a little mini twist or roll your shoulders or anything you're feeling, anything you want to kind of shake out, stretches or releases that you want to do. And then from here, we'll scoot off the blanket again. If you're sitting on one, set it off to the side. We're going to come to a seat with your knees bent in front of you and your feet on the floor. And then from here, slowly lower all the way down onto your back. And just let your back relax against the floor for a moment or two here. Take a breath and just be. And then from here, we're going to take our hair down because it bothers us when we're ponytail lying down. Anyway. We're going to bring your right knee in towards your chest. And then place your right foot on your left thigh, sliding that knee out away from your body to open up your hip. You want to really make sure that knee goes out away from your body if possible. And option 1 is you could stay right here if you're feeling a nice stretch here. Or optional, if you want to go a little deeper, you could lift that front foot. And with your hand, just kind of reach towards your hamstring. And if you can, try to let your head relax out on the earth. Try to keep both your feet flexed when you're moving into a reclined pigeon here. You might feel opening in your hips or stretch somewhere in your legs, depending on where you're tight. But take a moment here in your reclined pigeon to consider, maybe notice areas in your body, spaces where you're feeling a little bit tight, where you're holding on to stress or tension within your body. And then recognize, how we have this wonderful practice on our mat, and these stretches and poses and things that are available to us, these tools that we have available to us, that allow us to have the option to release that tension, and just being glad that we have the ability to take care of our bodies in that way, and to do these awesome things to release those tensions in our bodies. All right, let's exhale, release that front foot, followed by your other foot. Let's just stretch your right leg out for a moment, point and flex your foot. Kind of release through that leg, notice how it feels. And then we'll bring that knee in, and guess what? We do the other side. So just bring your left knee in towards your chest, and place your left foot on your right thigh, sliding that knee out to the side. And then, of course, optional, you could stay right here, totally cool. Or maybe you lift that front foot and reach for the back of your leg. Check that your feet are flexed. Make sure everything feels okay in your knees. This one does not involve compression on your knees, so for most people it'll be okay, but, you know, I always like to say tune into your own body, because you know your body better than anyone else does. And if you're someone who can't do regular pigeons, like the traditional one that we sometimes do in class, because it hurts your knees, because it involves that compression on your knees, this one can be a really good alternative or option for you. And if you can't do that one, this can still be a nice option just to help. Again, more tools in our toolbox. We can be grateful that there's so many poses and modalities and ways we can heal and take care of our bodies and minds that are available to us to play around with. Take one more breath in here. And then exhale, release, lower it back on down. And then from here, we'll feet parallel to one another. Knees stacked over your ankles. Stretch your arms down to the side. Now I'm going, and palms facing out, I'm going to show two options for this. So if you have a block, and I should have said this before, but if you have a block, go ahead and grab your block. If you don't, we'll just do it without the block and make it work anyway. So I'm going to press your feet into the floor. Inhale, lift up one vertebrae at a time. So lift your lower, mid, and upper back, and pause for a moment here. Coming into our bridge. Just notice how it feels. And then exhale, release, lower down, upper, mid, and lower back. And take a moment, slide your knees a little from side to side. And then we're going to move into this again, but this time we're going to use the block. If you don't have the block, you can just do it without the block, but you might find that you don't hold it as long, and that's totally fine. You can just not hold it as long and come out of the pose, or maybe come out of the pose and then come back in, okay? But if you do have a block, we're going to grab that, press your feet into the floor, inhale, lift up again a little bit at a time. And once you lift your hips, we're going to take that block, just start on the lowest height, or your book or whatever you have, and place it underneath. So it goes right underneath your sacrum, which is the very lowermost part of your spine here. And then let yourself rest down on that. You can kind of play around with that, maybe rock a little side to side. Make sure it feels okay. If it feels uncomfortable, whatever object you're using, it feels like it's digging into you or anything like that, you can always put a blanket or something over it to make it more padded. So sometimes that takes a little bit of playing around with, but once you get that in place, all we're going to do is just let your arms rest to the side, palms face down, and relax into our supported bridge pose. And you can play around with the height here too. I like to always have people start here because this can be a pretty intense back bend otherwise. But this will usually be okay for most people who can normally do a bridge pose. If you're someone who just knows that you really crave a deeper back bend and that works and feels good for you, then you could tilt the block or object into a higher height, potentially, depending on what you have to work with. This is, again, all optional. These are just options. And lift yourself up higher. Be careful if you do this one. Make sure that you're not pinching in your lower back and that this feels okay. I tend to, I've been practicing back bends for a long time, and I'm very partial to them. They actually feel really good on my spine. So I do like this option sometimes, but I'm always mindful about it. And if it ever starts to not feel good on my back, then I just lower it and I don't worry about it. It's not a competition. And if you're doing this without a block, again, you can just do regular bridge option like we did before again, and hold it longer and then lower when you're ready. But having the block allows us to hold it longer, which we are going to play around with today. And again, if any of this doesn't feel right to you, you can always just skip to the next pose, or just relax and hang out and watch me do it while we're here, or do another back bend of your choice. But otherwise, we're going to relax into this variation of the supported bridge pose. Having the block there underneath us makes it more passive, more yin, so we're able again to relax our muscles and hold the pose and receive the benefits of the back bend in a different way. I like this one also for, that can be really nice for if you have lower back pain with PMS and stuff like that. This pose may help. I find that it does help for me for that. As well as if you have any lower back like pinching or annoyance, this can release that for some people. But otherwise, let's just let you breathe in, breathe out, and just let yourself relax into whatever variation of this bridge that you are in today. And as you do so, this is a heart opener, so I invite you to transition your awareness to the beating of your heart and expansion of breath. How amazing it is. Just relax. We'll take about 5 more breaths here. Of course, you can come out sooner at any time if you want to. On your next inhale, if you have a block underneath you, just press down to your feet, lift your hips up just a little bit higher than they are, just for a sec, long enough to slide that block off out of the way, and slowly lower down upper, mid, and lower back, taking your time to get there. And then give your knees a little hug in towards your chest. Maybe rock a little from side to side if that feels good to you. Spidey release in your back. And just let it feel good. And then from here, as you're ready, you'll lower your feet back down to the floor. Do something a little different here. Stretch your legs out in front of you. Stretch your arms back towards the wall behind you. This isn't that different, but we're going to move into something a little different from here. But let's start with our full body stretch while we're here. So stretch your feet out, stretch your arms back, stretch out through your whole body. And then from here, you might bend your knees a little bit to get there first, and that's fine. We're going to slide your hips just a little bit over to the right. And then to extend your legs, take your feet out towards the left edge of your mat. Take your hands out to the left edge of your mat. You want to keep your hips on the floor. So if your hips start to pop up, adjust. Maybe you don't go as deep into the pose. So we're coming into our supine crescent moon pose here. So we're creating a moon shape with our body, essentially. We're going to look like a crescent moon. Sometimes this pose can be, in a fun way, referred to as a bananasana, because it's also kind of like the shape of a banana. Now we're just going to take a few breaths here. Feeling a nice, we're looking for that nice stretch all on the side of your body. Really good side body stretch here, lying on your back. So just relax into it. We'll take a couple more breaths here. Again, wherever you're at's fine. Just try to keep your hips on the floor. You don't have to go as deep into this as I am. As long as you feel the stretch, that's what counts. Alright, and then from here, you can guess we're going to do this on the other side, so you can bend your knees a little bit if that's helpful for you. Some people could find it helpful. Bring your arms back just over your head, like they were in the full body stretch, and slide your hips out over to the left. Slide your feet and your hands out to the right side of your mat, and keeping your hips on the floor and your back on the floor. If the left shoulder pops up a little bit, that's okay. You can always put a blanket or something underneath it if it's popping up and it's making you uncomfortable. And we'll take about 3 or so breaths here. Just relax into your moon pose, if you will, your crescent moon. So supine crescent moon pose. Lie on your back. Or if you prefer to call it, this is your banana pose, whatever you want to call it. It's all the same. Let's take one more breath here. And we'll bring your feet, arms back to center. Stretch your body long once again. Hug your knees into your chest. Maybe rock a little from side to side. And options here, we can either roll over to one side and make your way back up to a seat, or if, and only if this feels good on your back, you could rock front and back. Some people this could feel like a nice massage on your spine. Some people it might not feel good. So don't do it if it doesn't feel good. Just do the other one. Either way, make your way back to a seat. Find your way back to a seat for a moment. At this time, we're going to find that wall that I mentioned. We're going to come over to face the wall. My wall's right here, so I'm going to move over this way. We're going to move into something called Viparita Karani, or legs up the wall. It's one of my favorite restorative yoga poses. Now, if you have glaucoma or any like serious eye injuries or anything like that, you'll want to skip this pose because even though it's a very gentle and pretty much the safest kind of inversion that you can do in a yoga practice, it still is technically considered an inversion. So for those reasons, you wouldn't want to do that, or if there are any other limitations that you've discussed with your doctor or therapist of why you wouldn't want to go into an inversion. But otherwise, this would be a pretty safe option for most people. So what we're going to do is start with your knees bent in front of you, feet on the floor. I hope you can see me okay. And you can extend your feet out to the side, give yourself room. We're going to scoot in about as close as you can to the wall comfortably. And then from here, lower onto your elbows, your forearms first, and then slowly lower down onto your back. And let your back relax on the floor. Once you get there, we're just going to take one foot up, followed by the other, and that's the pose. Now, if you find that there's a little bit of space between your legs and the wall, that's totally fine. If there's a lot of space, you might want to try to scoot in. For me personally, I do like to try and once I get there, scoot a little closer if I can, because I find it more comfortable that way. But it's not really a big deal. Just make sure you feel comfortable and supported here. Using the wall to support your legs, coming into our legs up the wall. And relax into it as we look up instead of down. Literally turning ourselves upside down. Continue to breathe in. And breathe out. Being thankful for the opportunity to shift perspective and potentially start anew. It's never too late to start anew or to shift your perspective on something. Be open to different ways to look at something, different perspectives, and different things. We're going to stay here for a few minutes as well today. We're going to hold this for a couple minutes and relax into this pose. If this pose is not for you for any of the reasons I mentioned or any other reason, then I invite you to do any other poses that you'd like to do to close out your practice. And then perhaps move into Shavasana from there. But for the rest of us, I really encourage you to try this pose. I really like it. And you can do this. I've done this in hotel rooms before so many times. It's really good for you. It just helps to, really refreshing. They say that it brings blood flow down the other direction of your body. They say that it helps to tone your skin and help with anti-aging, which I like to believe. And it also brings blood flow down to your heart. So it's really good for the health of your heart. And also, they also say that it's good for helping with migraines, headaches, things like that. A whole other plethora of benefits. So just relax here and breathe. And maybe this quiet space for the next minute or so. Just return to your breath if needed. And return to your intention that you set for today's practice. And just take this time to be present with yourself. Take a couple more gentle breaths here. Of course, you could stay in here longer if you'd like. But for the purpose of this practice, as you're ready, just bring your knees back in towards your chest or towards your body and just gently roll over to one side and just take your time, using your hands and your arms to support you, to make your way back up to a seat for a moment, coming out of your pose. And from here, we're going to get ready for Shavasana, or corpse pose, our final relaxation for the practice. So, if you want to put your socks or anything warmer back on, I invite you to do so. If you have any blankets or pillows or anything that you're wanting to use to get as relaxed and cozy and comfy as possible, and just trust yourself that you know what that is. You do not have to be any sort of expert at yoga to just know what is going to be a good relaxation practice for you. When you get there, eventually you will make your way into lying down on your back, your legs out in front of you. Your arms can be to the side, perhaps palms facing upward, or they might be resting face down on your chest if you're needing a little more grounding today. Your shoulders and your back relax down, and there's no rush to get here. Just when you get to it, let your whole body settle down into the earth and relax. Let your eyes gently close as you return back to your natural breath and settle in here for Shavasana, releasing all physical effort from your body, just letting everything loose, letting everything go. Letting yourself be. Relax. Settle into a deep gratitude for your own journey, wherever you're at. And as you stay here lying on the floor, relaxing into your Shavasana, I'm going to be sharing few gratitude affirmations. You can completely ignore this and go into your own world if you'd like. Or if you choose, you might repeat these either out loud or to yourself. Otherwise, just let yourself completely let go and relax and take in the benefits of today's practice that we've done so far. I am so grateful to be alive. I live my life with awareness and gratitude. I am thankful for the universe and all of its abundance. I am so blessed for everything I have. Gratitude grounds me to the present moment. Happiness and abundance find me. I am attracting joyful experiences into my life. I practice gratitude and cultivate joy. Me too. Of course, you may stay here as long as you'd like. You can pause this video and stay here. Otherwise, you may begin to deepen your breath, drawing awareness and energy back into your physical body, and start making any shifts, stretches, movements with your arms, legs, hands, feet, anything like that feels good to you, gently reawakening from your Shavasana. And when you're ready, you may gently bring your knees in to your chest and roll over to your right side and just pause for a moment here in fetal pose. In a heart filled with gratitude, there's no room for discontentment and comparison. Rachel Cruz. And mindfully begin to make your way back up to your seat. And as you do so, just take a brief moment here of gratitude towards yourself for taking this time out of the day and coming to this practice and doing something really good for your mental and physical health today. I hope this practice finds you well. Namaste. And I have gratitude towards you for coming and doing this class with me. So I hope you enjoyed it. And I will see you back next time. As always, take really good care of yourselves. Bye.